I'm Yash Bhavsar,
Okay.
and I'm currently studying biomedical science, BSc undergraduate. I'm currently in my first year. I was January start,
Okay.
and yeah, in the first year, which I think, yeah, I mean, 12th August is my last submission of my first year, and then the first year is over. So uh, we just got introduced with all these assignments thing, because in my country it was like it wasn't very familiar. I wasn't very familiar with this. So yeah, like how to make these assignments, how to research peer published articles and everything. So I'm kind of new to it, and actually I'm loving it. So yeah, that's about that.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Thank you. And Vikas, do you want to go next?
Yes. Hi, my name is Vikas. I have emailed you regarding my interest because I was not there in the list.
Okay.
So
Oh, yes.
my name is Vikas Shah, and I'm pursuing MSc in Pharmacology and Drug Discovery. Uh, Before pursuing this master's, I have completed my master's from India,
Okay.
master's in pharmacy. So
Okay.
wherein I have worked in a research, wherein I have worked in a particular in vitro and in vivo research. But at that time, I was associated with the company, so I
Okay.
could not publish my data.
Oh, I
So
see.
I'm not familiar. Yeah, but I wanted to publish my data. I wanted to, get recognition. And if you have the publication, then there are higher chances of you to getting good position
Yes.
in
Yes. Yes.
big
Yes.
companies. So
Yes.
my
Okay.
goal, my goal from this
Yeah.
co-curricular activity particularly is to learn how to publish a data. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean paper in a journal. Second, how to write a particular concise, I mean publication for the
Oh,
review paper. Basically, that
okay.
is the second goal.
Okay.
And my third goal is that this paper will help me in my future prospects.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you, Vikas. Thank you. Amna, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Amna Rahman, and I'm from India. Currently, I'm pursuing Masters in Biomedical Sciences from Coventry,
Hmm.
and I started in May, of course. I just finished my first semester, and then one of my professors actually posted the opportunity that you were offering, and it really interests me when I read the overviews of the topics that you're going to explore. And I'm so very grateful for you to like put me into this cohort, because I'm really interested in like writing this my paper on myasthenia gravis. um yeah, my main goal from this will be just it will be a very learning opportunity for me, and I really look forward to working with you. Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amna. And Josh?
Okay, good day. My name is Joshua. I did my undergrad in microbiology. I'm studying biotech at Coventry. I'm in entry. So, my basically why I'm interested in this paper is because of my future career. I feel like starting early on publications like this is going to give me like a jump start. Basically, that's all.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So I get a feel from what's been shared initially as part of the intros that everyone sort of wants to get an idea of how to develop peer-reviewed works and sort of use that as a way to basically to expand on their biomed background and also go into sort of have see a way of their work in future to basically have a mixture between, I guess, lab work as well as having sort of sort of a way to develop, peer-reviewed and published works as well, which I think is which I think is great. So basically, what I wanted to uh, talk about today as part of this is basically where in this cohort, there was the sharing of a just basically a fact sheet of an overview of the topic myasthenia gravis, and myasthenia gravis is basically a a condition that is basically affects the acetylcholine receptor that basically that affects basically the central nervous system and the link between synapses and axons and synapses, so that basically it makes it difficult for recipients to actually to actually basically sort of function, from in context of their central nervous system. And it is a sort of a condition that is mainly sort of neuromuscular, or where the neuromuscular junction is affected in recipients. So it is kind of a sort of a condition that affects basically, additionally to that, where it has a sort of a clinical syndrome, but it also has an impact in how in an impact in how the laboratory side of things, from laboratory medicine, how laboratory medicine sort of is involved to help diagnose or help diagnose the condition in suspect or high risk patients or recipients. The in sort of society today, myasthenia gravis perhaps isn't as prevalent, or there aren't, for example, isn't, sorry, as prevalent as it probably was once, in a time ago. So what I like to do, is part of this cohort, is to see if we can develop and co-develop sort of an updated sort of overview in around this topic, and looking at sort of the biomedical practices, but also sort of the clinical side of it as well. It is going to be sort of mainly a literature based activity. And in one or two of the cohorts previously, one of the questions that someone asked was, or one of the students had asked, was on the basis of for example, how long should it take for this to do, or for the work to actually come through to fruition. And so I like to see that basically a manuscript, a near finalized a manuscript in around this, should be something in the region of up to probably mid-December this year. So around the 15th or 18th or something like that, the 18th of December, something like that this year. It'd be nice to have a near finalized manuscript. And in the email that was sent to all of yourselves, is was a template manuscript. That manuscript is on a different topic entirely, but it can be used as a way to see how to develop basically this topic in around myasthenia gravis. So there is no sort of practical laboratory side to this, to this sort of work, or this effort. But that's not to say that, in what is developed, is work, sort of find sort of an overview again in around sort of the most up-to-date techniques or investigations that are used. So, for example, historically, some of the investigations, and I think in the overview sheet that was shared with yourselves, was that there are laboratory investigations that look at acetylcholine receptor, the sort of tighter levels of acetylcholine receptor levels in or tighter levels in those who are suspect or high risk, and those are mainly sort of immunological sort of investigations. But there are also some biochemistry investigations that are normally done or can be done as well. But basically, from yourselves, it'd be good to get an idea of sort of the most up to date investigations that might be done in such patients. And this can be a paper also, which looks at sort of comparing and contrasting between sort of the sort of or what, for example, what some authors say in peer reviewed or published works versus what other authors might say. So, for example, in around different pharmacotherapeutics pharmacotherapeutics, if you like, and what one author says versus what another author might say. So you can sort of do a compare and contrast aspect to this work. But it is a an effort where we basically together we're co-developing. So you see me as like as basically as a collaborator more than like a supervisor aspect in this effort, and through this effort also is basically where I'm going to basically leave the idea would be to leave it with yourselves to schedule like any calls, schedule the next call, or and also where if you wanted any, if there was any questions, you can also look to email as well. So that will be the basis of doing this. And in around the writing now in around the writing now, the idea is to have this work developed for a particular journal. At the moment the journal I think I've got that that was listed in the table was abbreviated as the journal of the Journal of the British, potentially BJBS, which is abbreviation for the British Journal of Biomedical Sciences. However, saying that it might well be that that might be one of the particular journals, but there are other journals that we could potentially put this forward to. But the idea is that if you develop the develop or we develop or co-develop the manuscript initially, then then there can be sort of a dialogue about what sort of what whether BJBS is the right journal for this particular manuscript. And in regards to the citations and references, I'm going to leave it down to you guys to decide whether you want to use the Harvard method, methodology of referencing or citing, or the Vancouver. Now, I'm if just to remind ourselves of the different of those two different ways. There's basically wherein the written works, there's the Harvard method, which is basically the where you write the author's name, the surname, and the year the year that a particular work was published in within the manuscript in brackets next to what is being said, or it is basically the Vancouver methodology, which is basically you have the citation with a when after a particular aspect of writing has been done, then the number is put a number is put in so that that number corresponds to a list in at the end of the manuscript. But either way, whichever way is chosen or selected, then that has to be the method that we go on throughout the manuscript. So that's basically what would be the best that's basically the my thoughts on the best way of sort of going forward. And in regards to also I've mentioned it in the other cohorts in regards to, for example, where we can have a suggestion or to have a think about where the works could be, where an overview of this works could be presented, and presented either in a poster, sort of a research poster format, or in as a oral presentation, so that basically, if the work is accepted, where an abstract of the work is accepted, then that can basically mean that that will give one of yourselves the opportunity, or even all of yourselves an opportunity to present an aspect of this overview within a particular within a particular like conference or seminar sort of, or symposium remit. So that would be one of the things that you could also think about. And if you have some familiarity in regard to how to in regard to referring to publications or published works, like literature reviews or clinical trial works, or sort of narrative reviews, systematic reviews, for example, then you'll see in published works there's always an abstract. What I like to see as well, or what would be good, is that we have an abstract that can be done, which should be about 250, maybe 300 words, and the abstract is that part of the manuscript that is normally done at the end of when the whole manuscript has been near completed or finalized. But the idea is that we all have a task, that we're all sort of involved, or co-develop in the different parts of the manuscript. So what I'll do, or the plan will be, is to after this particular call, I'll send an email out with the overview of what was sent in around myasthenia gravis before, but there will be some citations or references that can be referred to, which will be hopefully a start to where you can start referring to or looking for published works, and then it would be good if someone from this cohort could actually lead on the communications. So I'll leave it to one of you guys to basically decide who would want to lead on the communication. So that basically means that when that person communicates different things in either in emails, for example, that everyone is on the same page as to where things are based on the different tasks on this manuscript idea. So that's basically my thoughts, and where I want to where I think it would be a way to start things off. And basically, I like to see, it'd be good to have something sort of, as said, near finalized, between 1 and 3 months. Vikas mentioned, obviously, that he's had some experience, where he had published, where he looked to have published some work that had data in, and that work, his experience is not an unfamiliar one. There's lots of authors, researchers, for example, who have looked to publish data in certain in amongst certain journals, for example, or for example, where if the data looked at that, appeared that it was not significant enough, or didn't show enough significance, that it would appear that if the work isn't published, it feels as though it's like wasted time. So in that regard, it can feel quite heartbreaking and disappointing. So in this regard, it's the idea is to see that the co-developed effort would go towards a publication and towards a peer-reviewed journal. And I've suggested, as I said, the British Journal of Biomedical Sciences. But if not BJBS, there are other journals that can be investigated or explored. And the idea is, although this is going to be an effort in regards to looking at an overview of the topic, of in around myasthenia gravis, And although at the same time there won't be any actual, laboratory data or investigations that have been done from a laboratory side of things practically, the idea would be to actually have the sort of the most up-to-date evidence in around what has been done in around this topic, and that you all become, authors or co-authors in this works. That's the idea. So it gives you sort of that sort of initial, hopefully, that platform to actually, basically see that you are published initially. And for those of you who, for example, who are, for example, still at undergrad, then it's hopefully it's a a great opportunity, because there's not many undergrads who would have published, who would look to have published at an early stage. And so it would be it's hopefully it's a good opportunity to have works published, in an early at an early stage in your efforts as healthcare scientists, biomedical scientists, and so on. And again, to have something, in the way of a research, some works, where the where the abstract of the works can be presented potentially, and I can share some ideas about, where the works could be potentially, shared in the form of a seminar or conference, for example, as and when the manuscript is near finalized. And so that's something that everyone can, hopefully, get involved in. But yeah, those are my ideas. And I want to make sure. I want one of the things. Obviously, I want to make sure that it's a sort of an experience that everyone advantages from. So that's why I'm sort of leaving it quite open. That if there's any questions, that come back to me with anything, in emails, or in through a follow-up call. That's what I'm going to say. Are there any questions from anyone here at that time based on what's been said?
Um, I mean, I don't have question right now, but
Yeah,
I just want to reiterate whatever you have told. What I have understood. I have understood that we have to make an updated overview on myasthenia gravis,
yeah,
including its clinical and biomedical aspects.
yeah,
Right? We
yeah.
have to prepare this manuscript approximately up to 2 to 3 months, within 2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months. If you needed like up to the end, even the up to the end of December,
Yeah.
that would be okay. Yeah, but normally for a good manuscript, it takes about 1 to 3 months anyway.
Okay. Then next part is up-to-date investigation on the myasthenia gravis, whatever the taste and whatever
Yeah,
the up-to-date information is there, that has
yeah.
to be included. And what else is that comparing and contrast with what this author says and what other author
Yeah,
says.
you could.
So
Yeah, on that basis, Vikas, it's basically down to whether so when as the paper starts to develop, and as it starts to get written out, then basically, if you feel that there should be a part in there about what different authors say, comparing and contrasting, you can include that in as part of a section of the written works, or you can include it, throughout the different sections of the manuscript as it comes to fruition.
I understood. Now, in order to make this review, will require some figures, right? I mean, some flow charts, some figures will require. So
Yeah,
for
so
that,
yeah. So
please
what I would do is each have an overview of the in sort of the fact sheet, an overview that I sent or attached in an email to yourselves previously, or one of the original emails. But I'll send another email, and it will have the same attachment with some updated references or citations that you can refer to. And in those citations or references, there will be some published data that there will be some published data in around that, which can be used and referred to based on what different, what authors of published works are saying about the condition.
I understood. And you want us, we together we develop this manuscript so
Yeah.
that it would be easier and it would be seamless, right?
Yes. Yes.
I understand. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, so this is the central concept of this manuscript. Now we have to develop on that concept.
Yeah,
Am
yeah,
I correct?
exactly. So you'd have to develop the sort of aims and objectives. You have a look at, you refer to, the literature. You look at sort of some of the methodology. The methodology and around this, obviously, there's no practical laboratory investigation, but in a part of the methodology, you could say that, for example, this this is the methodology for this works will be to investigate or interrogate the literature in around myasthenia gravis, and to provide, up to date perspective on the condition. So that would be the methodology, because there won't be, for example, a practical element to this. It's a literature based activity.
Okay, I
Yeah.
understand. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments?
Okay, I have a question. So basically, the collaborative part of us is just us bringing all our ideas together and building one paper. Because obviously, if we are like a lot of people, we can't say like four people should go and write different papers. So how is it going to work that we get one paper? Are we going to like share the work or
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we can use so is everyone familiar with there's a I think it's Google, they have a sharing thing called Google Docs. So basically, as we make as different updates are made on the manuscript, we can share on Google Docs, and that gives the basis that, for example, where if there's one manuscript, or there is a manuscript that is developed and co-developed, for example, then that version is the version that everyone sees at the same time, and Google Docs allows the sharing of that. So we can do it through that way. But we can also, use emails to share a document. As well. Like so for example, when I reached out with the idea of developing this manuscript, I emailed everyone with attachments. So you can email with attached documents, to back to me, and I can refer to them as as you develop them, or as we develop them. But yeah, either or, it's a way that we can actually share. There's also, I don't know if anyone's heard of, there's a facility called WeTransfer, and you can put files in WeTransfer, and you can yeah, you can put files and audio. You can put other basically, yeah, audio files, and even video files, for example, through WeTransfer. And that come that there's with WeTransfer, there's a link. That link can be emailed or shared, and then there's the link expires after, I think 3 days or 5 days. So you can download whatever is in the WeTransfer link, and then that way, everyone can, gets everything, that gets everything within that link. So that's another way we can share, so that everyone's got the same work, same sort of document, for example. So does that sort of answer your question, Josh?
yes, 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 there's no right.
Okay, brilliant. So, anything else from anyone?
So are we supposed to like divide this the work, like one can do the bio biomedical aspect, so one can do the clinical aspect, like one can
Yeah,
do the
yeah.
diagnostics and
So,
everything.
what initially, so I'll send an email following this call with the different aspects. But initially, what I think will be good that everyone attempts, basically looking at the introduction. Everyone looks at the, like you mentioned, the biomedical practices and the clinical practices. Everyone looks at sort of the sort of methodology, the best way to put a methodology together, the best way to put the sort of updates in around the literature. Everyone has a way to has an effort to put a decent abstract or a good abstract together, following after everything is done, and the sort of discussion and conclusion. So everyone sort of has an effort in around that. And then the idea obviously is that that we basically that sorry then everyone once I get an idea of how that's being composed, then the idea is really that everyone will have a specific or a particular task, based on how how I see, or how we see, or how we all see basically the work comes together. Then basically after that we can see that which is like sort of the best way to go with each of those particular sections of the manuscript. But I will make it a bit more transparent in an email I'll send across following this call.
Sure.
Okay. So I'll leave it like that, and any follow up, do feel free to contact me, and with any other particular follow ups. But that's the general gist of this, and hopefully it'll be enjoyable, or and both sort of intriguing and enjoyable for everyone in this cohort.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, then I'll leave it like that, and we'll catch up another time. If I can, sorry, just before everyone goes, if someone, one of you, can lead on the communications, so that means any communication that is sent in an email, that person copies everyone in the email, and also, when I send an email, that you think about when there could be another time that you would want to have a follow-up call, because remember you got up until the mid-December or end of December to complete a near finalized or completed version of a manuscript. So there's any time between now, sort of now or this month, up until that time, to have one or two or three calls or follow-up calls. So anyone who leads on the communication, that they factor in when they would like to potentially organize the next next one or two calls.
All right, I can do that.
Yeah, you want to be in charge of that, Josh?
Sure.
Even I can yeah, I can lead on this part as well.
You sure? Yeah. Okay, because I'll let you do that. You can have a, and also have a think about communicating amongst yourselves as well. So you can come up with ideas, and things, because it's a co-developed effort really. So everyone who's wants to get involved in this can do that. Yeah, through that way. So I'll leave it like that, and I'll catch up again. Okay.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Cheers.